Center by the end of today. The astronauts will then spend a few days at the Johnson Space Center. Flight surgeons should clear them to then return home with their families, but they'll likely get to see their families before they actually get the clearance to physically return to their homes. And, you know, gosh, what they
Here we
might,
go. I'm sorry to interrupt,
Rich and
Kristen.
Sonny must be thinking right now, Jake.
Kristen,
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but we just got a much better image, and we're told they got the green light to open the capsule, and we got a much better image of them opening the capsule door. Butch and Sonny's return to Earth after more than 9 months. They were supposed to be up in space at the International Space Station.
And there you have it. The side hatch
Let's
is
listen
open
in.
for the first time since September.
So somebody went in.
We can see some of the protective equipment there that was brought into frame that will help protect the edge of the side hatch. One, from any potential damage. Oh, we can see the recovery crew member there taking photos of the side hatch seal. This is part of the standard operation for recovery. These photos will get saved into our procedure. We'll then install that protective frame around the side hatch. This helps to ensure that the side hatch itself, the edges of it incur no damage while crew members are coming out from the spacecraft. If you missed it, there was also a recovery team member that went inside. So there are now 5 people on board the Dragon spacecraft.
And if you are just joining us, it has not yet even been an hour since Crew 9 splashed down off the coast of Tallahassee, Florida at 2:57 p.m. Pacific time. The crew is now on board the recovery vessel Megan, and the hatch is open. The next major milestone that we'll see is when the crew will actually egress or exit the spacecraft. But before that, they'll continue to, the recovery personnel rather, will continue to install that protective area around the hatch and then remove the footrests. So we're a couple minutes away from seeing the crew egress, but not too long away.
We'll probably see those footrests being handed out here in the near future, as I mentioned before. Of course, we got to get a well-documented photo of the moment. Although we can't see it from here, I'm pretty sure there are 4 smiles on board right now.
And we did hear that report out from the commander, Nick Hague, following splashdown, that there were four smiles as far as he could see.
Yeah, capsule full of grins. Now, generally speaking,
and there we do see Crew 9, some happy waves, smiles all around, back on Earth.
Wow. So cool.
Generally speaking, we have the individuals in the 2 center seats of the spacecraft exit first. You might hear us refer to this as the exit process as egress. It's just another term for exiting the spacecraft. Generally speaking, we most of the time have the 2 center seats egress first, as it makes moving around inside the capsule a little bit easier. We can see the tablets that were previously located on the upper leg of the crew members. We can see those being handed out to the recovery team. Those were taken off prior to the entry phase, to spacecraft reentry. Those had to be stored and secured prior to dynamic operations.
So Scooter Altman, as we're watching these crew members go in and out of the capsule, what are they doing right now?
Well, they're basically, deconstructing the vehicle, pulling the extra equipment out that the crew took with them, making a clear path for them to get out. It is kind of a constrained environment. I think that's a footrest coming out right there, making room for the crew to come out.
Why can't the crew just, oh, here, these are stretchers?
Yeah, that's a stretcher going in, so I think they're going to put one of the crew members on that and bring them out like that, just as a precaution like we heard earlier.
And again, we're doing this just because it's standard operating procedure, pretty much. If somebody has spent this, are they going to do it for all 4, or just for the ones that were up there for 9 to 10 months?
No, I think it's for all 4. I'd be surprised if it wasn't. Although the workout regime that guys are doing these days makes them typically pretty much able to get out and walk around right away. So
right, but they don't want to have an astronaut fall on camera, I would
exactly.
say.
And you can see a few astronauts in the back there in the blue suits. Watching. Typically the head of the office will be down there looking at recovery and a couple other folks.
Jack Fisher, what's going through your mind as you watch this, as you watch these last moments before the 3 astronauts and 1 cosmonaut exit the capsule?
Yeah, right before I came back in a Soyuz, so kind of similar experience. You're really gathering all your stuff, handing it to the crew to make room so that you can get out. And then as Anna mentioned Don's story, just to come out and smell the air and have the sun on your face, it's amazing how much you take that for granted when you're down here on Earth. When you're living in a tin can for 6 to 9 months, it's a really emotional and exciting experience to come back and just be one with Earth again.
And Anna Lee Fisher, they are now breathing, even though they haven't emerged from the capsule yet, the first fresh air, Butch and Sunny, that they have breathed in more than 9 months. Does it taste sweeter? Tell me what it's like.
Well, for us, having just been gone for 8 or 9 days, I don't think I thought about it that much, but boy, I bet they're just really enjoying, being able to smell the ocean air and just everything. It's just all those smells and sensations are, as Two Fish said, you just take it for granted when you're here. But when you're missing it for a long period of time, you really appreciate just how wonderful this planet we live on is. And so I know they're going to be really glad to be back and be able to be reunited with their families and just get back to a normal life soon.
What was it like after you came back from the space shuttle to grab little baby Kristen upon your return?
Oh my gosh. It was, I remember my first words to my husband, Bill, when we landed was, it was all worth it. All the work, all the effort, it was all worth it. And then I didn't get to see Kristen until we flew back to Houston and landed at Ellington. It was just the most wonderful feeling in the world to be back home with your family and with her. It was the longest I'd ever been away from her at that point. So it was just an amazing feeling. And I know they're going to be having a similar experience, because I'm sure there were lots of things that they missed while they were gone that they had not intended to miss, since they were only supposed to be up there for 8 days. But I want to say how much I truly admire Butch and Sunny for their
Here they go.
attitude and how they
I'm sorry to interrupt, Anna Lee. I'm sorry to interrupt, Anna Lee. We're watching the first astronaut coming out of the vehicle. Let's listen in.
Our first crew member.
I imagine that's Nick.
And that is NASA astronaut Nick Hague, commander of Crew 9. Now out of Crew Dragon Freedom. Some smiles, thumbs up, and a wave. Can't get any better than that.
Yeah, that is one happy camper, that's for sure. As we said before, it is standard procedure for all of our long-duration crew members to receive assistance upon egressing from the spacecraft. We basically help them move off of the recovery deck and into the private medical quarters for their initial consultation with the SpaceX flight surgeon. So we'll see that take place for all 4 of our crew members today.
So Scooter Altman, let me just ask you, they said they were taking of the 4, the 2 from the inside seats first. Seems kind of unfair that Nick Hague got to get out. He's only been up there for 7 or 8 days, right? Or even shorter.
No, he did a full expedition that launched, 6 months ago.
Oh, okay.
I know there was a vehicle that just went up, and everybody kind of thinks, well, one went up and one came down. But no, they took the one that they took up there a while back.
Oh, so he's been up for 6 months?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood that.
The thing, though, that I noticed is when I landed the shuttle as the commander, I was the last one out. Here, the commander's the first one out. So things have changed.
Because of where they're seated?
Yeah.
So who's going to be the next one out? Do we know? Did you catch the faces?
I would bet it's Alexander.
So it's Alexander the cosmonaut.
Alexander.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. We were just talking about the smell of the sweet sea air that they're experiencing there for the first time. Here's the second astronaut or cosmonaut, we think. Let's listen in as he emerges from the capsule.
Next up out of the capsule, we expect Roscosmos cosmonaut Alexander Gorbanov. His first space flight. Spent 171 days in space alongside NASA astronaut Nick Hague.
Looks like we're getting some cheers and clapping on board as Alexander is slid down the little ramp and placed into the mobility aid.
So just to remind everybody, as we have
smile.
before, this is standard operating procedure for the astronaut, or in this case, cosmonaut, to be escorted out on a stretcher. Doesn't indicate anything negative that's gone on.
Oh.
But remarkable. So I misunderstood. So Nick Hague and Alexander the cosmonaut have been up there for 171 days.
Right.
That's a lot of time too.
I mean, it's basically a full expedition. That was the idea. Butch and Sonny then filled in, but they had to do the whole 171-day expedition, even though they'd been there for roughly 2 months before.
Okay. So when you're up in the space shuttle, is that just a pretty sterile environment? I would think it would have to be. Like, is it stale air? Is it bland?
You have a circulation system that's supposedly taken all the odors out. Although I will tell you, sometimes when you'd land and the crew opened the hatch, they'd say, wow, it kind of smells in there. But it was normal to me on board.
Right, okay. That's funny.
As it creates a little bit more movable working.
Jack, what was it like for you getting out of the vessel?
The spacecraft. There is a recovery crew member inside
Yeah,
that is helping
we talked about the smells. You know, when you get to the station, when you first float in, it smells like 20 years worth of body odor and farts, and you get used to it.
Yeah.
But getting back to Earth and being able to breathe, it's wonderful. I'm excited to see these two come out in the astronaut office. Butch and Sonny are definitely known for just such positive personalities. Butch is such a strong Christian, and Sonny is just lightning in a bottle. She's got an infectious passion for everybody, and these are two amazing humans. I'm so excited to have them home, and I guarantee they're going to be smiling and whooping and clapping and just enjoying this moment of being home.
Let's listen in as one of them, I think it's Butch, comes out. Or maybe that's Sonny. I can't tell. Let's listen in.
Missions of the Dragon, for Crew Dragon, that now we're under about 30 minutes for, to retrieve the spacecraft from the water, and just several minutes here while it's been on board, and to get everyone, really to get that side hatch open. For those of you that have just recently joined, the Dragon had an on-time splashdown. Oh, looks like we're getting our next crew member here.
There's Sonny.
That is none other than Sonny Williams. Big
Sonny
smile,
Williams
big
has
waves.
returned to Earth. What a
She,
wonderful,
like her other crew
wonderful
members,
moment.
Now will be assisted onto the mobility aid.
Annalie Fisher, do you recognize that wobble? Is that what it felt like, the 800-pound gorilla wobble?
Yeah, I bet she's
there we
so
have
happy.
It. Some waves, some thumbs up, and some smiles.
Definitely seems to be
I was guessing
a theme
Sunny would
among
come out first.
all recovery operations.
And here we go, the
Absolutely.
last of the four. Butch Wilmore will return. Let's listen in as the last of the four
Inside
comes
Dragon
back.
In seat 4.
Yeah, you don't
We're
have
getting some views of him now as he egresses or exits the spacecraft.
I think they don't have the mobility vehicle.
That's what I thought. I didn't see. Oh,
there it is. Okay.
All right, go Butch.
There it is. 4 out of 4.
Once again, some elation and cheers there from Butch Wilmore. As we mentioned before, returning to Earth from coming from a microgravity environment can